Hi, I'm Zoe and welcome to Paranormal Extraction. And I am so excited today. No, I'm not going to tell you everything. But yes, we have a famous producer and director with his own series out, Aliens Uncovered. Now, this is absolutely amazing to have him on, right? The great thing about today is we're going to start off with his first movie, which is E.T. or Manmade. You can find that on Tubi, Amazon, or Roku. Okay, now you can find these for free. This is fantastic. So the great thing about Clive, okay, I just absolutely am amazed by him, is he's got these 9 movies out, right? But this is the first one he did. So if you're not really sure about UFOs or what are UAPs or you're in question, I highly recommend to watch this movie first. It's very educational and you will learn a lot to progress down the road of ETs, aliens, if you like them, if you don't. It's all there. The information is there. The truth is out there. Clive, it's an honor to have you on my show and that I have met you and talked to you for a couple hours on at a time. And I mean, you have 9 movies out now, okay? Not 6, 9. And I mean, you are just absolutely amazing. I mean, so you're an archaeologist, okay, on top of being a ufologist, okay, or expert, and you were doing something else, right?
Yeah, so I'm a history major. I
Yes.
was in school to be a professor in history and archaeology, traveled the world.
I saw that in your first movie.
Yes, that is, you want to
That's
talk
really
about
cool.
following your dreams. That was my childhood dream when I moved here to Phoenix, Arizona in '85. Indiana Jones, the treasure was something that they really pushed on us as
Yes.
kids. And just being in the dirt, here in Arizona was a culture shock. But one of the first thing I learned was how big certain treasure stories and things like that took place here in Arizona. So I was always just playing in the dirt, searching for the lost Dutchman, to put out the stone maps, Billy the Kid's lost cash, things like that. And over the years, well, in 1997 to be specific, I saw the Phoenix Lights, and that is what
Yes. Okay.
shaped
I
my
lived in
whole
Arizona.
journey.
That's like, isn't that the biggest UFO event that they say is real ever?
Yes, I just recently did a film chapter 7 called UFOs over Arizona, and it is a very big event. However, that one I'll give you a little inside information. The Phoenix Lights was actually ranked third in that
Wow.
event. Yeah, so out of the top five, I personally rank the Phoenix Lights number 3. So there's 2 more ahead of that actually happened here in Arizona. But to answer your question, yes, it was one of the biggest, most reported, most witnessed. I mean, an entire city, and at that time in '97, Phoenix is a much different city. It's not this big city that we know in the present day. The city shut down 7, 8, 9 o'clock on a Thursday evening.
Yeah.
So being able to tell that story, tell what I experienced to a lot of these newcomers coming into the community, it's just been a huge blessing. It started with my first film, which is E.T. or Man-Made, Aliens Uncovered, E.T. or Man-Made. And then it started with there, and then it eventually turned into 15. Now, 9 of them are actually out on various major streaming platforms. But ET or Man Made, that's the
That
journey.
that's
That's the
your
yeah.
first one. And
Yes,
and you know
absolutely.
I love the fact that it talks about your life and how you got into this, you know. And then the Phoenix Lights kind of changed your point of view about things. It kind of was a light switch that went off, and then at the airport, right? That
Mhm.
got you more interested into that. And what was that? I mean, um, because I know you saw these lights. How was that?
So, you know, the Phoenix flights, that is through investigation, what I've learned that everybody that truly experienced them, that they've had multiple experiences afterwards.
Wow.
So being here in Arizona, it's you got to understand one thing: the land is extremely sacred. There's so many different things, different aspects when it comes to the native community here and the indigenous people and their oral history. But when it comes to ET or man-made, I try to compact all of that into one documentary, and it's truly hard. But
Yeah.
you know, when you get that intimate experience, really with me as a filmmaker, but a person as well, because in the first 5 minutes, I talk about my childhood. I
Yeah.
talk about the
Yeah.
Phoenix Lights, which I experienced that as a teenager, 15 years old. And then I go into my, early adult life where I'm, in school, studying history, traveling the world, working ancient sites and things like that. And you get that within the first 5 minutes. So, the Phoenix Lights really changed the way I was looking. Like I said, as a kid, I'm looking and playing in the dirt, so I'm looking down, searching for treasure. But when I saw the Phoenix Lights, now I'm looking up in the sky,
Yeah.
and that I have learned so much. Not only what's above us, but I've also gotten answers to some of the things that I was searching for as a kid by looking up, looking in a different direction.
Yeah,
So
that's
if
just
we,
absolutely amazing. I mean, you're doing this on the ground thing your whole life, and now you're doing this, looking above. I mean, archaeologist ground. Okay, so now what? Like you shooting the moon next, Clive?
well, I'm doing so that that journey, that process leading up to the being a recognized filmmaker with a legit documentary. I did actually do astrophotography. So if you're not familiar with astrophotography, I photographed planets, that is celestial bodies. You
That's
know,
in your. That's in. Isn't that in
yeah,
your first movie too?
absolutely. So
Okay.
what you're going to learn is a lot of that footage, not all of it, but a lot of that footage, the monsoon photography, the planets, Jupiter, some of the UFO sighting, that's
Yeah.
my footage.
Yeah.
So yeah, I got behind the camera. I was always behind the camera as a kid, but even growing up. But I really turned it into a business in 2013. Shortly after that, in 2015, I landed my first big job, and it wasn't even. It's hard to explain. I didn't go there hired. I started the mingle. It was ESPN First Take during the Super Bowl. Started the mingle. Met this person. Eventually met Antoine, who was the producer of ESPN First Take at that time. And and then by the end of the week, I'm getting a $2,000 paycheck. So that was really like my first gig, which landed my next one, which was with Tommy Chong. During that time, I was on Fox News. I was getting recognized for my monsoon photography. I had recognition from NASA. I was working with USA BMX and BMX racing. So there was just a lot of things that were getting to flourish once I stepped behind the camera. And then in 2017, 2018, that's when, as an independent contractor, I landed a really big gig with the transition of Fox into Disney. So when I got
Yeah.
into that, that's when I learned the future of what streaming, where that was going to be. And I'm still learning, applying that information in present that I learned back then, because streaming is this is where we're at now. And they pretty much that was pretty much a college course for me. So I learned where it was going to be. I was there before Tubi was even acquired by Fox. I
Oh
was,
yeah, I mean way before it's just started, this whole streaming and all this stuff, you
yeah,
know?
absolutely. It was just, it was a, that journey and everything that led up to the film being made and collecting all the data and everything and research that I put in over 20 years. Once again, traveling the world, investigating, and going to Turkey, Ephesus, which is a very important location. I also mentioned it in my first documentary. I don't go into detail until other chapters, but traveling the world, and I put everything together into that first documentary, and it's a genuine experience for the
Well,
newcomer.
yeah, oh yeah, for newcomers, I mean it's highly educational for like for me, it's easy to do now. I mean, you want to know, you're kind of interested, but you're not really sure, but it's not too airy fairy, it's not this or that. Watch this show. Watch ET or Manmade first to get that education so you can make your own decision. I just want to say one really quick thing. I'm going off your board here. But in that movie, I love the picture of the motorcycle and the whole story. Oh my
Mm,
God. I couldn't believe it because you put that picture up, okay, and I didn't see anything, right? And then as you progressed with your storyline about this picture, it was so cool that this UFO, or I think you like to call them UAPs, right?
yeah, so in this documentary in specific, what I do is I differentiate between the two. The reason why it has seen so much success is because there's science applied. I'm teaching you and showing you how to spot what is the difference between a
Yes.
and a UAP, which is unidentified flying object versus unexplained aerial phenomena. And a brief rundown, a UFO, an unidentified flying object, is an object that can be identified. So when I hear people talk about flying saucers or even the black triangles, we know what those objects are. So in my case, they are, and this is just my opinion, they have been identified. Now we need to understand who are the occupants and who has pretty much engineered this craft. Is it ours or is it some extraterrestrial craft? So a lot of these UFOs that I break down, I kind of show the people that this is really our stuff. A lot of this is 85% of is
Right.
our stuff. You see a black triangle, I'm 99% sure that is ours, and I can pretty much tell you the region in which it was made. The flying saucers, these circular craft. I mean, there is documented uh, history in the National Archives. If you look up, simply search the Avro card that was
Mm.
developed in Canada in the 70s, 60s. These flying saucers have been around for a while.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah, I
so
mean, let's just look at the photos that come from Jesus. I mean, they're right on there, Clive, or do you have that figured out too, and that's not a UFO?
So when it comes to like the UAPs, right? I think a lot of these UAPs is once again my opinion. These are the reason why they're given that category is because a lot of this stuff, and I'm talking about that 15%, cannot be explained. Okay.
Right.
There's times where I have interviewed and seen footage of lights just strobing in the sky and disappearing. I
Yeah.
have personally in the field just recently where I captured what I thought what I was filming a satellite is a formation of craft. I saw one, but there was really three. My camera picked up what I could not see with my eye, and I got pretty good eyesight. So there are these unexplained aerial phenomena that are taking place normally over mountain ranges or in areas that have high concentration of mountains that are unexplained, left unexplained. Some of these are in Project Blue Book. Some of these have been recorded during the pandemic. Some of them were recorded in past and were put into paintings, like you said, with I think it's called the Madonna and Child, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
There's that UFO or something that is clearly in the sky. And a
Yes.
funny thing is, a buddy of mine, his name is Steve Barone. Shout out to Steve Barone. He photographed something very similar. I'll actually send that over to you.
Thank you.
But he was able to get one picture because he thought he was in video mode on his camera. And when he hit the record button, it took a picture. So he tried to switch it, went back up and lost it. But it looks like the same craft that is in that famous Madonna and Child painting. Oh,
Wow.
down to the glow. It almost had this golden glow around it. It's an
Yeah.
amazing picture that I put in a later documentary. But the difference between UFO and UAP, that's important when it comes to not only being able to, when you're researching, you got to be able to differentiate and then try to identify what it is that we're actually seeing. If it cannot be identified or we cannot explain what happened,
Yes.
remove that from UFO and bring it over to the
To
UAP stuff.
UAP. Wow. Okay. So, um, tell us a little bit. Okay. So, at this time, you were talking about in your past how you were doing this photography for motorcycle racers. And so you were behind the scene as the motorcycle comes up in the air. Okay, you guys got to watch this because it's really cool. This is in the movie. Okay. And you're just doing a job, it looks like, for taking pictures of these kids that are motors. What do they call them? Motor cross?
Yeah, it's BMX racing, and the name of the track in specific here in Phoenix is Black Mountain BMX. Shout out to my Black Mountain BMX family up there on the north side of town. They welcomed me with open arms in 2015.
Yeah, because there was a lot more going on than just that one photo.
There was a lot going on in 2015.
Holy camole.
What I was doing that year, I was expanding. That's a part of the journey, and this story is a part of that journey. But I was really, and if you notice in the film, a lot of that footage is from 2015. So at the beginning of the year, I decided that I wanted to photograph every planet in the sky. And I got my telescope. I'd show you. It's a little big, and it's just over here. But actually here, I'll show you guys so you can see it. So the telescope here, got the camera, got the mount to the telescope, so I can actually zoom in and see celestial bodies and things like that at a great distance. So I had decided to photograph the planets,
Wow.
yada yada. So a lot of that footage that I was capturing was really either accidental or stuff that I was seeing while I was photographing these planets.
Yes,
like,
it was accidental. Okay.
yes, like the daytime scene, which was, I believe it was January.
And you
4th.
clearly state that and show that.
Yes, so a lot of this stuff is from that and that reasoning. So when it came down to August at the BMX track, I had only been shooting photography there maybe 2 months. It's the summertime. It's hot.
You're amazing, Clive.
You just have to be cut from a different cloth to be able to shoot photography outside here in Phoenix during that month. A little I'm aware of it. So the date is August 8th, 2015. The sun is setting. My buddy Owen, who has a little bit of fame now, shout out to Owen. He was up in the gate. He had asked me to snap a couple of photos, and he comes down which is called the first straight, and he goes into the berm, and that's where I take the first picture of him, and I'm glad I did. And I'm also telling you the story how I remember it, and I'm going to break it down for you because the photos that I took and how I remember it don't match up. But I'll get into that. So he comes around the first berm, and he gets to my position. I take 3 photos.
Right.
Goes off. As I'm in the camera, I'm following him, and it looked like something fell off of him. So I immediately put the camera down. He's going into the third straight and then into the fourth. So I go to look to pick up what he dropped to hand it to him. I'm looking on the ground. I don't see anything. Hey, Owen, did you lose something? No, I'm fine. Cool, whatever. I'm standing there. But keep in mind, I'm telling you this as I remember. I'm standing there. I see a black helicopter in the sky.
Oh man,
Only thing,
yes. I
if you know
remember all
anything
this.
about, if you know anything about black helicopters,
Yeah.
you're supposed to just keep a lookout. So I see this black helicopter. I start taking pictures of it, and it goes from north to south. Owen's back up in the gate. He's doing whatever photography. I'm stopped, whatever. I go home. I look at the photos. Actually, Owen said, "Hey, can you send me some of those photos?" I'm going through the photos, and I notice there's something, a black triangle in the sky. I zoom
Yeah.
in,
Yeah, I
and
know. You can't see it really, but
you can at first until you zoom in and you focus on it, and you
right.
realize that it's the camera actually focused on the UFO and not actually focusing on the writer, which is it's unheard of. I mean, he is much bigger in size.
No, it's
I'm
just
on him.
it's phenomenal. It reminds me of one very strange picture that no one's been able to figure out of I'm not even going to go there. Okay, this picture is really strange to me. It's it's so cool. Tell me more about it. I mean, they'll look. Wait, so everybody out there, you will see this all explained in the movie. Okay, but we're getting it directly from Clive, and he's going into it a little bit with a little bit more detail. Clive, let's go to the photo.
Mm-hmm. This picture in specific, you see this black triangle with a rectangular, what looks like some sort of propulsion or window, and it's clear. It is the camera actually focused on this UFO. Now, notice I call it a UFO. Let's look at the characteristics of it. There's a black triangle. We clearly see this as a triangle.
Mm-hmm.
If you know anything about the what is known as the TR3B, now this is not the TR3B, but if you know anything about it, you know how these triangular craft, how they maneuver on a triple axis.
And that is government.
That is government. That is ours. This craft that you're seeing in this picture, it is ours. Okay. Now, what type of craft is it? It does not have a propulsion trail.
No.
And once again, the focus, you got to understand that I'm on this rider. This kid is 5'7", 5'8". The bike is easily 2 feet off the ground.
Yeah.
The camera is focused on him. I'm following him, and I get this clear image of this black triangle. Now, the other
Well, the
two,
funny thing is that Clive. He's flying through the air, okay, on
mm-hmm,
his bike.
mm-hmm,
How are you going to get such a clear image like that in the background? That's what's shocking.
that is the unexplained aerial phenomenon.
Yeah, it looks like someone painted it in just like that Jesus picture, you
It
know?
is great example, and thank you for that. First off, because it's amazing how clear not only this one but the other two, which are somewhat blurred, but you can actually see where that white bar is. There's a divide, so it is some sort of propulsion system that we are not aware of. And keep in mind, back when we were younger, we knew about the SR-71 while they were working on it on secret site. It was in cartoons, right? We had certain things then that not only let us know what was going on, but it was used as an advertising tool to get the next generations to join the army and join the military and become a part of some of these cool programs that are going on that a lot of the public doesn't know about. We don't have that anymore,
Mm-hmm.
right? So now we're looking at area. If those things were happening then, they have to be happening now. Why is there this disconnect between our government,
Ah.
public, and not telling us about these cool programs,
Oh.
not getting the future generations to want to join the army and the military and the CIA and all this stuff? What
Clive,
happened?
Clive, don't get me going. That's a whole different subject that I could just use very bad language at, and you would not like me. Nobody out there would like me.
But it's a
Well, they
question
don't
that
like me now anyway, so who cares?
I like to ask those questions that um, they really they're simple questions. You know, we came from a generation that just we don't realize how cool that generation really was.
Oh, yeah, I do.
The stuff that we not only learned, but the world wasn't as connected. And when I focus in today's room, I think like that because
That's
Arizona,
better.
Arizona is a state that still houses a lot of secret. The American Southwest houses a lot of secrecy. And the one thing that I've learned is there's so many videos and images that I could put up for likes and reactions, but that's almost that could be a threat to national security because what if our enemy sees that and that video allows them to recreate what we're doing, right?
So
Um,
I've got a question. This has nothing to do with what your movie's about. So if they're doing that, is that why they're keeping a cover up? Is because the the governments don't want us to see different forms of what we've built that might be a UFO?
I think one of the reasons cover up occurs, and once again, I'm just speaking based off of what I see in the area that I live in. I think cover up happens because of the fact that everybody has a phone now, um, and that information can be shared
Mm-hmm.
uh, and distributed and reach the other side of the world in a matter of seconds, minutes, right? And we have enemies. That's just you know bottom line. We have enemies, and we
Yeah.
don't want them to have the technology. Let's just face it. When it comes to the United States, we might be lacking in some areas, but the one thing we're not lacking in is not only the military industrial complex, but the private sector. Like people don't want to mess with us when it comes to that. And
Right.
I, once again, I'm speaking based off of what I see. I don't want to say on a daily basis, but if I want to go sit up in certain areas and set up my cameras and see some really cool, futuristic stuff that a lot of you guys aren't seeing, it's a couple miles away from me.
Now you invited me to come there. Don't forget.
Yes, I want you to come and just see the stuff for yourself. And I invite open arms. It's the one thing you got to understand about Arizona is Phoenix in specific. Before the invention of the portable air conditioner in 1947, this was the military's playground. Really, the entire Southwest was. Nobody really lived here. They couldn't
That's
deal with
right. Oh,
right. And after 1947, there was a major migration, and they were forced to move operations. And then you got Area 51, and so on and so forth. Um, it's still heavily. You know, this is public knowledge what I'm saying here. Luke Air Force Base is one of two where Air Force pilots can come get live fire training. You know, you had Operation Snowbird. One of the things that we see is like the military games here. You know, like they have the military games at sea. But when you have your military games at land, it happens here. So there's times where we know you're going to see stuff in the sky, and we know that's the military. So
Right.
we see that type of activity, like I said, almost on a daily basis. So we know and have learned through research and investigation and having friends and people that work in certain places that can't interview or get on camera, but they'll tell you something over a cold beer and a private conversation. And I think
Mm-hmm.
this is I don't want to say I think on this part. I know, you know, when it comes to secrecy, that, you know, just imagine you have a friend who works at a place of, you know, in the
Yeah.
private area of airspace.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
not going to go on camera and, oh my God, this person said that it could ruin their life. They could get fired. They got
Yeah.
kids, bills to pay. And you don't do that. You know what I mean? That's just, like I said, once again, we live in a world for likes and reactions. And
Mm-hmm.
that's just not something we want, especially, you know, like I said, we have some areas that we're lacking in, and we don't want the military side of things, our technology, to
Right.
become one of those things we're lacking in. So I
Yes.
think that's why the
Yes.
secrecy in place.
Now, in the rest of the show that we have here, now we just talked about the kid. You guys got to see that, of course. But we have that man on his property that sees this, and it's pretty lengthy on this one, where he sees this. Well, I would assume it's a UAP,
Mm-hmm.
not a UFO. Okay,
Great assumption.
up in the sky, and there's pretty substantial evidence about it. What was up with that?
That so Martin, he lives next to Luke Air Force Base,
Oh,
and
that close.
yes, so it's actually he says it in the video. He says it's over Luke Air Force Base,
Okay,
and
I
there
didn't
was
hear
some
it.
sort of plane, a Cessna probably, that flew past it, and you see it disappear, and then reappear and start moving.
Yeah,
Or that's just characteristics of the the unexplained aerial phenomena because it avoided collision.
right.
How it did that? I have no idea. But it avoided collision and then came back and proceeded to go over the base in airspace. Now, here's the thing about it. You see the military scramble jets afterwards. This is
Yeah,
all footage. This was sent to MUFON. He eventually went to Luke Air Force
yeah.
Base.
It got approved by MUFON too. Excuse
Yes,
me.
this is a case once again that's in this film that just makes you say, makes you ask the question, why is Arizona so important? What is going on here when it comes to technology?
Is it? Did I get it wrong? Is this number three? Okay, a state that has the highest UFO sightings is
Um,
Arizona.
Based off of one of the most recent studies by Linda and Cheryl Costa, Arizona,
I know them.
the state,
I know Linda and Cheryl.
yeah,
That's
yeah, they both, so they did that 15-year research. They don't really get the recognition. Let's take the time to do that. Linda and Cheryl Costa, what they do is extremely important. Here's why. It's important because it's data. It's just data. And that sounds boring, but they
yeah.
have a love and a passion for it. And they did a 15-year study and collected data. And they learned that not only was Arizona number 7, Maricopa County ranked second.
I lived there.
It beat out 36, 37 states. One county in Arizona beat out 36 states. That is crazy. That's crazy. And then, of
Yes.
course, it's Los Angeles, which is number one. But, yeah, they put in the work and I really do applaud them both for what they've done in the UFO. They don't get the recognition that they truly deserve for that work. I have the book. It's in my on my bookshelf in there, but it is a compilation of raw data and numbers, not only of
Yeah, yeah,
sightings,
yeah. They must have just
performance.
released that. They were working on that like 2 years ago, like heavy
It's a
duty.
project. Yeah, it's a product they've been working. They once again from 2001 to
Yeah, forever.
2015 or something like that. A
Yeah,
really good
crazy.
project. So shout out to the both of them and their work and
Yeah,
what
yeah,
they.
exactly. Okay, well, I think we've got a lot on what, we can talk about at least on this film. Okay, and I'm glad we kind of stuck to the contents of this film because I really wanted to drift off into other other things, But I think it's really good, and let's keep it like this today, because we're going to have you on again for show number 2, which is what is the name of that one?
So let's do this real quick. Let me give you a really cool cliffhanger.
Nah, you're gonna freak me out.
We'll give you a really cool cliffhanger. Okay.
Uh,
So are you guys still recording?
oh yeah,
So back to your visit, because I definitely want you to come. All right.
yeah.
I'm gonna take you to a location. All right. And this location is it's secret, it's hidden in plain sight, and we're gonna go see some of the technology that a lot of people are seeing around the country. And
Wow.
we'll be talking about that obviously in person.
That well,
But
you just this is amazing. I'm like sitting here freaking out, but D can't hear you, so I'm gonna have to tell. I'll let after we shut this down. So okay, so we're gonna come out and visit and go and see. I know. Oh my God, and get to see you.
yeah, absolutely. We're gonna meet in person for the first time. But yeah, we'll go. There's one location in specific. It's an interesting place. I've seen some things there. We don't when we go there. Once again, this is I, when I take people there for the first time, I ask them not to film, just out of respect for
Oh,
uh,
absolutely.
community and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It is something that you'll be able to record with the eyes, and it is an experience that you'll be able to come back with confidence and say, "Hey, look, this is definitely ours."
Well,
Uh,
and you'll be getting a spiritual awakening from seeing something like that too.
Absolutely. It's once the land itself, why it's developed here, why there's so much technology. A lot of people don't know that the concept of the Prius was developed right here. So there's a lot of technology. The geography, the area itself is just
You are
it's
so nice. I just want to say thank you. And yeah, I got to figure that out. And after we're off air, which we don't really care because Clive and I love to talk.
you like I said, you could probably take some of this and add it in. I've done it
No,
plenty.
no, the whole thing's going to be on there. But what I want to know is on our next show, what movie we're going to be talking about. Number 2?
So that's why I gave you that cliffhanger. So
Oh,
I want to add this in at some point. I'll let you know, or you can do whatever you want, just so you have this audio video with it. So it's Aliens Uncovered Origins. Now, Aliens Uncovered Origins deals with what area, what was the, oh, how's the
aliens.
Aliens Uncovered Origins
And
pretty
what
much.
platform is that on?
It is also on Tubi, Amazon, and Roku.
Okay, so that's the next interview we're going to have with you
That's
then.
chapter 2. So chapter 2, Aliens Uncovered Origins, talks about the history of modern aviation, what was going on before Area 51,
Wow.
and
Okay. Awesome.
why pretty much I go into 3 UFO sightings, one of them which happened 2 days before Roswell. All this information is known, yet people don't talk about it. See, there's 3 major crashes that happened here in Phoenix in 1947 during the UFO wave of 1947. There's the William Rhodes disc that happened right off of 14th Street in Paradise Valley, 14th Street in Indian School. There's the Selman Graves case, and then of course, there's the one where it really is split into two. But
Okay, stop. We're not giving them any more information, Clive. We are not going to do it. We're going to let
okay,
them sit in their seats and just sit up and have their eyes scrolling into that TV set. No more information.
I
But
got you. Understood.
so
Understood.
we're gonna close this up, and Clive is going to be on a lot. Yes, he will. Not every week, okay, because we like to take vacations. Yeah, lots of vacations over here. And one may be to Clive's, so that show won't be on. Anyways, maybe we'll have our own show while we're out there. That could be a great idea. But
That sounds
anyways,
like fun.
yeah, I just wanted to say thank you so much, Clive, and
Thank you for having me.
amazing man you are, and what you've done in the film industry. I mean, nobody, people don't do this. So I'm just very grateful for you to be on. Thank you. I'm really glad we got in touch by Bob Dahl, of all people. And we'll all see you soon on your next one.
Absolutely.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank
All right.
you.